What's good, guys? Welcome back to Big T's Reviews and Reactions, and I told you guys I would be back with another review, and this is the review of the second half of the season of Sistas, season 3, and the episode is entitled The Dollar Store. We start off this episode with Maurice in bed, and Q is standing in front of, on the side of the bed, pointing a gun at him, telling him, "You got to go to the bank and you're about to get me some money." Maurice informs him, "We don't keep money lying around like that. It's in the safe and I can't open it. You need a manager to do that." Q informs him where you're going to get that girl. Maurice tries to play it cool. "What girl?" He says, "You know Sabrina, the girl you're always talking about." So he tells Maurice to get dressed because you're going to do this. So, Maurice always trying to be the actor with the comedy relief besides Danny. He's, "I can't leave like this. I got the match. A bitch can't be seen like this." But, Q is screaming because clearly he's fiending for something. And, he points a gun at Maurice as Maurice gets dressed. And then they leave the room. Next, we are going to Karen with this really kooky guy. I really don't know what to make of the preacher. I mean, he's a little weird. He's asking Karen to marry him. It wasn't too long ago where he saw Karen and Zach, screwing in her salon. Not only that, he's saying he loves her, and oddly enough, she says, "I can say I love you too. But I'm not in love with Zach, but I do love Zach," which we actually heard Zach tell Fatima. She wants to move slow. She really doesn't want to rush into anything. And he goes into this soliloquy. "It hurt me when you slept with Zach because I felt like he was, interloping in my territory. And, like Karen is his. And I can see," tells her, "I want to make you happy. I can see you with, being happy with the husband, and I want that to be me." And again, she tells him that, "I really want to take this slow. Zach and I have been together for 3 years, and it's not easy, but, I just want to move on." And she tells him that the way you are acting, this is how it was with Zach at first, the kindness and the good times, and then we started arguing, and then she brings up the cheating, yada, 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 and then he informs her, "So you tell me you don't know me?" Really? She does it, not really. Yeah, you can blame some bad things on Zach, but Zach also saved your life. And this is the man that's asking you to marry him. That's why Zach got stabbed, because Zach saved you. So you can throw off on Zach all you want. This preacher brought some bad things to your life. So, to get out of this, Karen really doesn't want to talk about this anymore. Well, he asked to put on another movie, and she says, "No, could you just hold me?" So, that's kind of where we are with the Karen situation. So next, the sister that gives me the most fits, Andy. She's in the office. She's kissing on Robin. And she just stops and says, "No, no, 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 no. I can't do this. I'm an engaged woman." And in my head, I'm like, did you not tell Gary to unlock the ring? Did you not tell Gary to get the bleep out your house? Yes, but in her mind, she is still engaged. I think they're just going through the motions. I think they just need to break up. Like, how can you actually call yourself an engaged woman when you were just kissing this man? And, Robin is, I really don't know where to put him either. He's really mysterious. He seems to be really, really coming on to Andy really strongly, and I really don't know what to make of that. So, they have a little bit of talk where he's talking about, "I think we should do this because he won't know." Andy informs him, "Well, I'll know." And he says, "Yeah, I understand that. We'll know. That's always the problem. But I wanted us to end on a good note." So after they talk a little bit more, they end up kissing again. And for some strange reason, she feels this connection with him and she can't stop. And after they eventually do stop, he asks her, "Do you feel that?" And she's like, "Yeah, I do feel it." And he says, "See, it's something bigger happening. It's bigger than the both of us." He's working game on her. It's obvious. I don't really know if he's serious or not, but he is. Andy finally gets out of it, and we go to Sabrina, who's lying in bed with Calvin. This is another couple that's really getting on my nerves. They're happy right now. I just either wish they'll just commit to stay together, which she still won't do. He informs her that, "I love you. She won't say it. He tells her it's okay. I would rather you say it when you really mean it instead of saying it when you don't, because she informs him that she feels guilty by not saying it. He tells her it's okay, just say it when you're ready. But at the same time, she does not want to do a commitment with Calvin, and she really doesn't want to see other people either. But they joke a little bit about Jacoby, and she tells him no, that's not happening, that's over. And he says, if you do get with somebody, could you tell me? And instead of her just saying I'm not going to see anyone else, she just says, yeah, switch. I mean, depending on the side you stand, you may think that's okay. But she knows she has to go to work later, so he leaves. We go back to Andy. She's coming home. Gary is there. The doctor and her assistant, they're gone. And Andy walks in and he asks Andy, where were you? And she says, out. And he says, where? And she says, the gym. Like, okay, Andy, really? This is really not helping matters. But I must say, I really want to know where Gary really was. So he says, that's how we're going to do it? Are you trying to make me go back to my old self? And she tells him, did you ever really change? And then he goes, and this is low as well, she told me you would do that. And Andy's like, what are you talking about? Who? And he said, the doctor. She told me that you were the type. You just love drama. You love to fight. Now, Gary doesn't know this, but I remember one time where Andy and Karen were sitting in the salon arguing about Gary, and Karen sat back, her arms crossed, and she smirked at Karen, and she just said, oh, you want to fight? And Andy was like, no, and Karen says, yeah, you want to fight, but I'm not going to allow you to do that. Gary does the same thing. He starts to get dressed. He tells her, I'm not going to allow you to fight either. She throws a little low ball at him, which a lot of people know you shouldn't say this to a dude. It really gets them going about his inability to perform. He gets upset. He says, I'm not going to fight with you. He starts to get dressed, and she asks him, where are you going? And he says, I need to work out. So we're back to this, little throwing each other with this gym stuff. And then Andy just says, okay, while you're out, would you tell her hi or something like that? And he turns around and says, I will. This is really toxic. This is a toxic relationship. Next, we go back to me. This is the light of the show. This is the relationship that I really, really, really wish they just won't mess with. If you want to cause trouble and they want to get in fights, go ahead, but please don't tear them apart. I love Zach and Fatima together so much. They just seem like the light of this relationship. They're in bed cuddling and talking everything, and Fatima has to go to work, and you know how Zach is. He wants her to stay. She's like, no, Zach, I have to get ready. I have to go to work. Fatima, she's getting better because she just informs him, like, I'm really feeling you, Zach. I'm feeling you where I don't want to see anyone else. He likes the sound of this. But again, Fatima is being vulnerable right now. She typically does not do this. And as she's telling him these things, she's realizing that she's falling deeper and deeper for Zach. He also informs her that I want you with me when I try to buy this, when I look at this property. And she's digging this. She likes this new Zach, And he also made this line that I don't have anything to do except plot world domination. And she really likes this. She loves the fact that he is thinking about what he's going to do next and that he wants her involved. Long story short, they talk a little bit longer. And, Fatima gets back in bed because she really can't say no to him. And, they do the do again. Now we jump to my girl, Danny. Danny comes in the apartment and she's yelling, Sabrina, what are you doing? I've been calling you. What's going on? What's going on? And Sabrina's like, oh, I'm sorry. My phone is dead. And Danny says, what's going on? You don't sleep this while, because Danny sees how the room is just askew and everything is just everywhere. And then she realizes, and Danny says some line like, damn, you were supposed to talk to the panty man and not give him none. Danny really loves to give Calvin a hard time. And Sabrina just, basically gives Danny a look like, I couldn't help it. I just really like this guy. She loves him. I just think she is afraid to say it. So as they're talking, Danny tells her that, yeah, Preston left. Sabrina says, how did he take it? And Danny says, well, he took it surprisingly well. And it felt so good to be in my bed and to wake up in my bed by myself. I just wanted some space. But she's getting worried because at the same time, Preston usually calls her by now. So she's getting nervous about that. And, Sabrina tells her, well, okay, you told him to give you some space, so maybe that's why. But then Danny jumps back and said, but he usually calls me by now. Sabrina's like, why don't you call him? Oh, she's like, no, I'm not calling a dude. I'm not going to do that. So, they're kind of at a crossroads, and they go on this little, soliloquy with each other a few more times, and eventually Danny leaves. I mean, they really didn't show Danny a lot in this episode, but we got a little more of Fatima and Zach, and Fatima's been at the office like an hour, and she gets a call, and it's Zach, and Zach is saying, come home, I miss you, but that wasn't really his purpose in calling her. His purpose was calling her that he got a call from the broker, the property broker, and he has to see the house now because someone is going to see it later. Fatima can't get off from work right now, being as she just came in. He tells her, ask Andy, she'll let you off. And she says, no, the partners are here, I can't do that. And she informs him, Zach, you can do it. And he says, I've never bought property before, I need your help. And she says, yes, you can. Just trust yourself. You can do this. You got this. And this is really what Zach has been waiting for. This is what Karen never gave Zach. This encouragement. She was always putting him down. All the while, Karen seemed to be telling everybody, oh, Zach doesn't pay any bills. He doesn't give me any money. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. At the same time, she never really thought about what she was not giving him. I mean, an emotional connection with someone is a relationship. In a relationship, you have to have this in a relationship, and he has this with Fatima. I mean, right now, Fatima is just the perfect woman for him. And Fatima, what I love about Fatima is she saw the entire time what Zach could be. Like, sometimes you meet someone when you're starting off in a relationship and you don't see them as who they are. You see them as who they are going to be. And that's how Fatima saw Zach the entire time. I mean, that's really deep. That's what, people say in wedding vows. Like, I see myself when she looks at me and such like that. That's really how Fatima sees Zach. And while they're talking, all the while, we realize this little punk, Hayden, is listening to the conversation. I mean, that's a fireable offense. You are listening on someone's line while they are talking, and he's upset. Where did he get money to see a house from? He's got to be doing something illegal. This has got to stop. Clearly, this is going to be their problem. I do think in the future they may bring Fatima's ex, but right now, Hayden really is a big problem, and he's only getting worse. This is not harmful infatuation or a little harmless crush anymore. This is flat out dangerous, toxic obsession. So Fatima is really happy about her call from Zach. She's getting back to her work. She's looking at her files and stuff, and she's smiling when Hayden walks in and say, oh, look at you. Such and such and such. Start asking questions about Zach. So he quit Chain Breakers. So he quit the airport. And then Fatima says, what is this? I mean, do you want him? Why do you keep checking in on him? And then he says, oh, I hope he's not doing anything illegal. Hayden knows that Fatima has things on him. He needs to move on. He needs to watch his freaking step. It's not going to take much for Fatima to throw the hammer at him. If he messes with Zach, she will do it. She's threatened to do it. She's told him she's crazy. She doesn't have an off button when it gets unleashed. So he really needs to move on and find someone else. But he just seems infatuated. And what is more even alarming about this entire situation, their parents know each other. Like, they're not strangers. I think they knew each other before they started working together. So this is even more alarming to me. Fatima brings in a threat. She tells him to leave Zach alone. And, she talks with Andy a little bit. And Andy sees that, wow, I mean, he's still bothering you. This is really cut short as Hayden and the senior partner, is in the room with Robin as Andy comes in the room, and the senior partner informs Andy and Hayden that Robin will be working with them. I mean, because they did a merger with the London office. Andy thought he was leaving, and the boss tells Andy and Hayden, I want you guys to help him, get the ropes and stuff at the company. And after he leaves, Hayden says, Well, I'm in a completely different apartment. I'm in accounting. It's a little boring. So, Andy, you do want to take him first. If a regular person would have said this, I believe it wouldn't have been an issue. But because Hayden said it, and he's kind of a dirty snake, it really got to Andy. Robin starts blowing up at him, telling him to leave. Hayden is like, I'm going to finish my conversation. And if I offended you in some way, I'm sorry, yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, it's admirable that Robin did this, but at the same time, like, I mean, dude, you want to show integrity there, but at the same time, you're kissing on this woman when she told you she was engaged. So I really don't know where to put him. So they sit down and they're talking, and because he says he's feeling Andy so, he informs her, I knew everything about you because I knew this was going to happen. And the truth of the matter is your boss is there retiring, and my firm is actually buying this firm, but they're calling it a merger, and I'm probably going to be your boss. Andy is taken aback by it. I mean, she doesn't like this. She feels somewhat like a fool, like she's been played. You know, because of this, he feels why she feels this way. He totally understands it, and he gets it. So what he does is he informs her, well, look at your phone. And as she looks at her phone, she realizes she's gotten some information from him. And it's his information. And he's trying to show her that I'm trustworthy. But I really, really don't know where to put him. I mean, could he be working with someone? Who knows? But all we can do is take him at face value right now. He did hide some things, but he also informed Andy is he didn't have a choice. He's actually not supposed to be telling her this now, but because, you know, he likes her and he knows her, that's why he is telling her this information now. At the end of this episode, we go back. Sabrina came to the bank late because Maurice was supposed to open up the bank. She goes in the bank. She sees it's dark. She realizes something is amiss. Like, what's going on? Why is the bank dark? So she goes in. She sees nobody. She cuts on the lights. She's wondering what the heck is going on. She goes and puts her purse down for a second, and she calls Maurice. She gets the voicemail, and she informs Maurice, what is going on? You're supposed to open up the bank. I give you a little bit of responsibility and you can't do that. I'm going to have to write you up. And when she hangs up, she turns around. She sees Maurice being held at gunpoint by Q. And Maurice informs her, look, just do whatever he says. Okay, guys, that's really the end of this episode. This is just quick review. I hope it was quick enough for you guys. If it's too long, guys, if my reviews are too long, please tell me, because sometimes I get a little long-winded. I think this was a nice opening episode. I actually expected it to be a little bit better because I really have high standards for Sisters, but it was a pretty good episode. I want you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and please comment and tell me what you want me to review or react to next. For now, this is Big T from Big T's Reviews and Reactions, and I will see you all later.